Good evening, parents and prospective students. I am Dr. Tulsi Mora, the Acting Dean in the Faculty of Education at Nelson Mandela University, and I welcome and thank you for choosing this webinar. Your decision for considering teaching as a career will be one of the best decisions you ever make. Parents and students, in the event of load shedding, please be patient and remain online as we reconnect. We all know that teachers are very special people who play an important role in society. Furthermore, we know that teaching creates all other professions. Teachers are special because they teach learners important lessons about sharing, respect, valuing differences, and teaching learners to make good decisions. The Faculty of Education at Nelson Mandela University is a dynamic, vibrant faculty that espouses a humanizing philosophy in its learning and teaching. The faculty is an important role player in initial teacher education and the supply of teachers in the country. The key aim of the faculty's pre-service teacher education is to develop student teachers who teach effectively to facilitate learning in schools and who are empowered to use their professional knowledge, skills, and expertise to deliver the school curriculum effectively. To achieve this aim, we have a diverse, caring staff who firmly believes that every student matters. As a faculty, we pride ourselves to produce high-quality, compassionate teachers who will be critical thinkers and agents of hope. In the faculty, we have 3 departments in the undergraduate program, namely the foundation phase department, that is headed by Dr. Dedre Geduld. We have the intermediate phase department that is managed by and headed by Dr. Tobeka Mapasa. And in the secondary school education department, we have in the senior phase and FET and PGCE head of department, Dr. Heloise Satora. This evening, each of the head of departments will do a short presentation, informing you of their respective departments. Thereafter, 2 of our former students, Ms. Jade Nolan and Mr. Jalan Gangia, will share their experiences as students in the faculty. And finally, Ms. Muriel Geswind will share information regarding bursaries. We will conclude with a question and answer session. Please feel free to submit your questions via the chat. I will now call upon Dr. Dedre Geduld to start the presentations. Over to you, Dedre.
You're muted.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, parents, foundation phase prospective students. My name is Dedre Geduld and I am the head of department for the foundation phase program within the Faculty of Education on our Missionville campus. Please allow me to share my PowerPoint presentation with you. Please bear with me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The foundation phase is a critical and a very important phase in the education of children. It lays the foundation and the building blocks upon which learning can take place. Foundation phase teaching is a very specialized area of education. Our graduates are qualified to teach learners between the ages of 5 and 9 years. Foundation phase schooling falls within the primary school department and it concentrates on the teaching of grade R up until grade 3. Our program specializes in this phase specifically, and we focus on the teaching of home language, first additional language, mathematics, and life skills. Ladies and gentlemen, the history of foundation phase teaching within the South African context is a very neglected area of schooling, and this resulted in many under and unqualified teachers in this phase of schooling. However, the education spectrum has changed tremendously Thus, it is important to know that to succeed as an applicant for this program, we need candidates with a strong background in mathematics, as indicated on your final grade 12 results. Students, know that our program is a 4-year undergraduate program and it is offered only on our Mission Vale campus. Please allow me to repeat this. It is offered only on our Mission Vale campus. The admission requirements.
Sorry, Dr. Geduld. Dr. Geduld, a second, please. Have you moved your slides? I'm seeing your first cover page only. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that, Dr. Mara. I think my nerves is getting the better of me. Foundation phase primary schooling aims to attract applicants with strong mathematics background, as indicated on grade 12 learners results. And the undergraduate program consists of 4 years, and it is offered on a full-time basis at the Mission Vale campus in Mission Vale. Ladies and gentlemen, candidates, remember, you need your admission requirements to qualify for the foundation phase program. You need a bachelor's degree plus. What does this mean? It means if you are doing mathematics or technical mathematics, the requirement to enter into this program is a 45%. Mathematical literacy needs to add up to 60%, while it is important for you to have 2 of these 3 following languages: English, Afrikaans, and isiXhosa. Know that you need a 50% in 2 of these languages. Why do I specify these 3 languages? These are the 3 main languages spoken in the province, and it is the 3 languages that we need to develop within our program. So how do we calculate applicant score? In the past, we use admission point score, ladies and gentlemen. Currently, nationwide, we use applicant score. So how do you calculate it? You are adding up all the percentages of 6 of the 7 subjects that you are currently doing. You do not add up the levels as we did in the past. We work with the percentages. Please take note that life orientation is not included in the calculation of your applicant score. Applicants must meet direct entry if they want to be admitted as a candidate for our programs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important that our students know in which quintile their school falls. Why? Learners in quintile 1, 2, and 3 schools, you are allowed to add 7 points to your final applicant score. Remember also that no testing as an alternative admission route is no longer accepted. Candidates, you need to have direct entry. It is important, ladies and gentlemen, that if you do mathematics or technical mathematics, you require an applicant score of 315 points for the foundation phase program. And with mathematical literacy, a minimum score, applicant score of 365 is required. No testing route is allowed for students anymore. If you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, I will be available to answer them during the question and answer session. I am now giving over to Dr. Mapasa, who is the head of our intermediate phase, and she is on our South Campus. Dr. Mapasa.
Thank you, Dr. Geduld, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As introduced by my colleague, Dr. Geduld, I am Thobeka Mapasa, and I'm the head of department for the intermediate phase. I am going to share with you how you can be admitted or considered for admission in the primary school intermediate phase. If you want to be an intermediate phase teacher or to teach grades 4 to 6, which are children between the ages 9 and 12, you need to apply for the intermediate phase. Note that even though the intermediate phase is grade 4 to 6, we also do train or prepare the teachers to teach grade 7 as well. The B.Ed IP is a 4-year undergraduate degree program, and it is offered on a full-time basis. It means, therefore, that you are not allowed to work while studying. And we are based at the South Campus in Summerstrand. Unlike the FET, where teachers are prepared for specific subject, in the intermediate phase, we prepare you for the phase. It means, therefore, that you must be able to teach all the subjects that are offered in the intermediate phase. You must be able to teach the languages, the maths, the life skills, the natural sciences, and all the other subjects that are offered, including the economic and management sciences, which is introduced only in grade 7. So that's what we prepare you for in the intermediate phase. And then the admission requirements. For you to be considered for the intermediate phase, you need to have a B degree pass on your matric results. Something else that is important is that you need to have your mathematics. If you don't have mathematics or mathematics literacy, you will not be considered. Maths is important, as Dr. Khader has mentioned. For maths and or technical mathematics, you need to pass with at least 45%. And your applicant score must be 370. And then for those who have done Maths Lit at school, you need to pass Maths Lit with 60%. And your applicant score must be 385 points. And then we consider only people who have done in matric English, Afrikaans, isiXhosa, is either you've done it home or first additional. And those must be passed at least with 50% or above. Unfortunately, no other language is considered. So if you have done isiZulu, isiSwati, if you have done Shivenda or Sisuthu, unfortunately, we are not going to be able to admit you in the Faculty of Education for the intermediate phase program. Thank you very much for listening. I will also, like my colleagues, answer the questions during the Q&A session. Now I am going to hand over to Dr. Satora.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, parents and prospective students. I am Dr. Eloise Satora, and I am the head of department for the secondary school education. Allow me to share the following important information regarding this department with you. In the secondary school education department, we prepare high school teachers to teach specific subjects in the SP and FET phases. Thus, you will be able to teach from grade 7 to grade 12. We offer 2 programs in this department, the B.Ed SP FET and the PGCE programs. Both of these programs are offered on a full-time basis only and are based on the South Campus in Port Elizabeth. Our B.Ed SP and FET degree is a combination of 2 phases in which you can specialize in the teaching of 2 FET subjects and 1 related SP subject. Currently, we are offering 3 streams in the B.Ed, SP and FET program. That is a commerce stream, a humanities stream, and a science stream. If you're wanting to specialize in the commerce stream, you need to select 2 FET subjects and 1 related SP subject. So for example, you would choose accounting and economics in the FET band, and then your related SP subject would be economic management sciences. Alternatively, you could choose to do economics and mathematics as your FET subjects, and then your SP specialization will be SP Maths. Similarly, if you're wanting to specialize in humanities, you might choose to specialize in the teaching of geography and history, and then your SP specialization would be social sciences. Also, if you're wanting to specialize in the science stream and you choose to specialize in physical sciences, the other FET subject will need to be mathematics, because you cannot do physical sciences without mathematics. And then your SP specialization will be natural sciences. So what do you have to do to what is required of you to be admitted to the B.Ed, SP and FET program? You need, like in the other B.Ed programs, you need a B degree pass. Students who's doing maths or technical maths at school need an applicant score of 390. Students doing mathematical literacy at school needs an applicant score of 405. And similarly to the other B.Ed programs, we also only accommodate students with English, Afrikaans and isiXhosa home language or first additional language, as these are the languages of instruction in the Eastern Cape. I'm not going to spend too much time explaining how to calculate the applicant score, because my colleagues did that in their presentations. But do be reminded that you need to add up the final marks of the 6 subjects in which you scored the highest marks, and you need to exclude life orientation to determine your applicant score. We also have specific subject requirements that you need to take into account if you're wanting to specialize in these specific subjects. These specific requirements appear on the screen now. I'm not going to explain the whole table, but will highlight some important aspects regarding these requirements. You need to have done maths at grade 12 level to specialize in the commerce and the science streams. And you need to have passed maths with a 60% average to do subjects in the commerce stream. If you did maths lit at school, you will only be able to specialize in the humanities stream, and you need to have passed maths lit with a 60% average. So for example, if you want to specialize in commerce, you need to have passed accounting and economics as well as maths with a 60% average. If you want to do science, you need to have passed both maths and physics as well as life sciences with a 60% average. If you want to do humanities, you need to pass the specific subject that you would like to teach with a 55% average plus maths lit with a 60% average. This table is available on our faculty website, and you can go and have a look at the table at your own time. My details is also on that website. And if there's any query or question that you might have, you're welcome to email me to ask for a response to your query. As I mentioned, this department also offers a second program called the Postgraduate Certificate in Education. Although this is an initial teacher education qualification, it is also a postgraduate qualification. Thus, you need to have completed an undergraduate qualification like a BA, a BCom, or a BSc to do the PGCE. We currently offer 2 PGCE programs, one being the PGCE SP and FET, where you'll specialize in the teaching of one SP subject and one FET subject, as well as the PGCE FET, where you'll specialize in 2 FET subjects. You need to have passed your undergraduate degree with a 60% average, and you must have 2 teaching subjects at third year level in your undergraduate degree. We currently offer the following 3 streams in the PGCE: a commerce stream, a humanities stream, and a science stream, with teaching subjects as you see displayed on the screen currently. So, if you have a BCom, you could specialize in the commerce stream. Likewise, if you have a BA, you could specialize in the humanities, and a BSc, you could specialize in the science stream. Finally, I know that you might have questions for me. Please jot these down in the chat section, and I will respond to these during the Q&A session. In our faculty, we take pride in the teachers we train and felt it necessary to invite some of our alumni to share their experience of the faculty with you. So I now hand you over to Ms. Jade Nolan, who will share her experience of being a student in the Faculty of Education. Thank you. I hand you over to Ms. Nolan.
Good evening, parents, learners, and prospective teachers. I graduated in 2017 doing a B.Ed FET. I majored in accounting and maths lit. My reason for choosing these subjects is I felt as if I had a passion for these subjects. I wanted learners to see accounting and maths lit as something as they love. They would want to do every single day. When learners love something, they'll do it every day. They'll be committed to it and they'll understand it. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to create an understanding and to create a passion and love for the particular subject. The education faculty created a safe space for me. Not only did they create a safe space for my mind, but they created a physical space. The education faculty is the only faculty that has their own resource center. It was a space where I could develop my own thoughts, my own ideas, that when I come from lectures is a place where I could conduct my studies, where I could study, where I could find research, where I could feel at home. The education faculty has taught me not just to accept everything as it is. It is expected of me to give a lot of knowledge and therefore not expect any knowledge on a silver platter, but to work very hard for what I wanted to achieve. They have also taught me to use my time wisely, to push through tough times, to go out of my way to help others, to have tough love, yet so much compassion. The faculty exposed me to different school contexts, and showed me on a daily basis that every learner's lives are very different. And in that, it has helped me to understand that life of a teacher is not simply to teach. As the Faculty of Education, they have taught me not just to become a teacher, they've taught me to become a leader and a dreamer to create a dynamic, optimistic future leaders for our country. I hope we have future teachers in this live presentation. Thank you. I'll now hand over to another Alumni, Sharon Gangia.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all well. My name is Jaren Gengia, and I'm blessed to be one of the alumnus of the Faculty of Education at Nelson Mandela University. Like stated by my colleague, the Faculty of Education is an absolutely amazing faculty, which not just is something that's purely academic, it's a culture, it's a whole experience by itself. We at the education faculty felt at home. We felt, even though, for example, myself being far away from home, felt that it was a space where it was filled with diversity, filled with absolute creativity, making us critical and cognizant of all the different contexts throughout education in South Africa. This experiential learning is an amazing experience that you find in very few places. We're exposed to township areas, here in Port Elizabeth, the northern areas, which are formerly colored areas, and the ex-Model C schools, which gives you a full view of education in South Africa, as well as giving you the experience of how to cope and how to handle what education actually looks like. Another thing that's very valuable is that the education faculty not only capacitates you with the skills, but they allow you to become a humanizing teacher. All of us are born with passion, and you wouldn't be on this webinar now without that passion. But they capacitate you with the skills and the ability to change a classroom from a place where people simply learn to a place where people actually change lives. And you are the ones that are going to be the ones that change those lives one day. And I hope to see you there. My experience of the education faculty has been incredible. From a cultural point of view, diversity point of view, you're allowed to be your own person, also sharing your own culture, your own beliefs, and your own systems, but integrating it into this big, beautiful world that we call education. So I welcome you to join us in this beautiful drive and hope you guys will. Good luck. Thank you. I'm handing over now to Muriel Geswind, who will tell you about bursary opportunities in the education faculty.
Good evening, everyone, parents, guardians, and prospective students of the Faculty of Education. Firstly, I'd like to just share some info with you regarding the two different opportunities for funding. In order to apply for a bursary or any source of financial assistance, you need to apply for admission to the university. Admission is open and will be closing on the 3rd of August 2020. Please do not miss the deadline in order to secure your space for 2021. Online applications are still being processed. There are two main sources of funding for your studies in tertiary education. They are namely the NSFAS funding, which is National Student Financial Aid Scheme, and then the Funza Lushaka Bursary, which is to promote teacher education. The Funza Lushaka Bursary is only available if you will enroll for a teaching qualification. So what is the Funza Lushaka Bursary? It is a multi-year program to promote teaching as a profession. It is funded through the National Treasury and executed by the Department of Basic Education, who then allocates funds to public universities in South Africa who offer teacher training as part of their qualifications. The Funza Lushaka Bursary is an academic merit bursary which requires of you to pass your grade 12 with an admission to bachelor degree studies or previously the old matric qualification with an endorsement or matric exemption. Because it's an academic merit bursary, it is aimed at high-performing students to complete a teaching qualification in a phase and/or teaching subjects that has been identified by the Department of Basic Education as scarce skills. These are subjects where there are insufficient qualified teachers, for example, foundation phase, subjects like mathematics in FET, subjects like physical science in FET, languages in intermediate phase, to mention but a few. Linked to the Funza Lushaka Bursary is a service obligation. This means that once you have qualified as a teacher, you must be willing to take up a teaching post in a public school, in any school in South Africa. This includes schools in the rural areas. So how do I go about applying for the Funza Lushaka Bursary? Applications are completed online. The cycle opens from the 1st of October 2020 and closes in the first week of January 2021. The website for more Funza Lushaka information, as well as the website for online applications, is also displayed on the screen. After submitting your online application, please print 2 copies and submit 1 copy to my office via email for processing during the selection process. How and when are selections done? So how do you find out and what does the process entail? The process entails the following. After registration has closed at the university, the applications are submitted to a bursary selections committee. These are processed, they are verified, and successful candidates are identified. And when will these applicants be notified? All applicants, whether you're successful applicant or unsuccessful applicant, you will get feedback from the university no later than 30th of April 2021 as to whether you've been awarded the bursary or not. One very important note I'd like to share with you, even if you apply for the Funza Lushaka Bursary and you meet all the criteria that we're not discussing at the moment because there's just way too much to share with you, and therefore we've shared the website with you. So even if you apply for the Funza Lushaka Bursary, there's absolutely no guarantee that you will be selected. And the reason for that is that there's various factors that influence selection. For example, there might be insufficient funding from the Department of Basic Education. Another factor could be that you're not registered for the correct subjects or subject combinations that the bursary requires. Those are the scarce skills that I mentioned earlier. So because of this, we encourage all applicants who apply for Funza Lushaka to also apply for other sources of funding, amongst others NSFAS, but also to submit applications to private institutions for study loans at the bank, etc. Okay. My details are available on screen. If you are going to register or intend to register at the Nelson Mandela University in 2021, please feel free to contact me regarding any inquiries for Funza Lushaka Bursary. As I mentioned earlier, another source of funding for teacher education is the NSFAS funding. NSFAS works on a slightly different principle to Funza. Funza is academic merit. NSFAS works on a different principle as in household income. Their applications at the moment are also closed, and the opening and closing dates will be published on their website and other social media platforms. So who and how do you qualify for NSFAS? All citizens who meet household income thresholds as indicated on the slides, will be considered for funding through NSFAS. As I said, provided that you are a South African citizen. The National Financial Aid Office, the university has a dedicated financial aid office at North Campus, the Mission Vale campus, and our campus in the Western Cape in George, to assist prospective students with inquiries related to financial assistance. Please feel free to email your inquiry to the address provided on the screen. I'd like to thank you for your time and the opportunity to share bursary and financial aid related information with you. I would also like to wish you well with your final exam, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in the Faculty of Education in 2021. I will be handing over to Dr. Moral for the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nuriel Khuswant. I want to thank each one of the presenters, Dr. Geduld, Dr. Papasa, Dr. Satora, and our alumni, Jaron Gangia, Mr. Jaron Gangia, and Ms. Jade Nolan, and then Ms. Khuswant for their presentations. I think they were quite clear in the presentations, and I thank them for that. Now we move on to our question and answer time, and I see we do have a number of questions. However, before I move on to the questions, I need to clarify, and maybe some uncertainty in terms of the phases in the education, in the schooling system. The foundation phase is for anyone interested to teach in between grade R and 3. The intermediate phase, that was the presentation by Dr. Mapasa. You are willing and want to teach in grades 4 to 6. The senior phase is grades 7 to 9, and the further education and training is grade 10 to 12. Now let us look at some of the questions that were sent. I do have another batch of questions besides these that were published. And I want to start off with one of the questions that came in beforehand, and that one is a very interesting question related to the foundation phase. It says here, foundation phase is popularly seen as a female-dominated teaching profession for teachers, for female teachers. Why is it so unpopular for male teachers? I want to hand this over to Dr. Geduld for a response. Dr. Geduld. Unmute, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Moral, for the question. I do appreciate it, and I also do appreciate getting the opportunity to speak to this question. Society has stigmatized foundation phase for too long, and I think it's time that we break this barrier. Students are sensitized into male roles and female roles, and foundation phase is unfortunately one of those phases in education where we see it only for females. If we look around us, we have very good examples of male figures, fathers, brothers, uncles, that do exceptionally well with the education of children. And this is aspects that encourage us to want to say, gentlemen, young men, please come and join us in the foundation phase. Do not let us be sensitized around what is good for males and not good for females. I know our students who are males have it very difficult when they apply for posts, especially in our township schools, because the stigma is even bigger around that. So I want to also speak to teachers, to parents, to our SGBs. When you receive applications from males, please do not see them as rapers, as people who molest young children, because it is not the case. Please give them opportunity. Please see them as equally able and even better for teaching our foundation phase learners. Thank you, Dr. Moral.
Thank you, Dr. Geduld. A second question over here is related to bursaries, and that will then be answered by Ms. Muriel Geswind. And the question is a very simple one, but very important one. Must the bursary be repaid? Over to you, Ms. Geswind.
Thank you, Dr. Mura. As I have mentioned earlier, the Funza Lushaka bursary is a service obligation bursary. After completing your qualification, you will be placed in a government school, in a government post, in any school in South Africa for the same number of years for which you received the bursary. So, for example, if you receive the bursary for your third and fourth year only, then you only need to have a service obligation of 2 years. The only time the bursary will need to be repaid is if in the event of you cancelling your studies or changing your course from B.Ed to law, for example, or you change your course of study from B.Ed FET mathematics to another teaching subject that is not identified as scarce skills to be funded through the bursary. Thank you, Dr. Mura.
Thank you so much, Ms. Geswind. Another interesting question over here. It's about someone that wants to become a grade 12 science teacher. And the question reads as follows. I'll direct this one to Dr. Satora. I want to be a grade 12 science teacher. Which route is the best? A B.Ed or BSc with PGCE? Your response, Dr. Satora?
Thanks, Dr. Murar, for the question. Both of those routes will allow you to become a science teacher. Currently, we offer the B.Ed with a science stream because we're wanting to allow students to sort of have a dual focus on both education and science. If you're following the PGCE route, the focus is predominantly on science in the first 3 years. And then we sort of bring in the education and the method of teaching the science subjects in the PGCE. There's a myth that students doing the BSc and the PGCE afterwards is better qualified to teach science than the B.Ed FET. That's just a myth, because for those who don't know, the science content that the students do in the B.Ed FET program is offered by our science faculty. So in other words, the B.Ed FET student as well as the PGCE student sit in the same class for science. They're just doing two different qualifications. And that's why at the end of the day, after completing the BSc plus the PGCE, the B.Ed FET and the PGCE student end up at the same level, the same NQF level. They will have the same content and they will have the same education theory modules to support their teaching.
Thank you for that, Dr. Satora. I just want to follow up with another question, also related to the PGCE. And it says here, does a 3-year national diploma, and this question is in the Q&A box, does a 3-year national diploma in journalism with Afrikaans and English at second year level not qualify for a PGCE? I want to repeat the questions. It's a national diploma in journalism. That's the qualification they had. And then majors, there is Afrikaans and English at second year level. Do they qualify for a PGCE?
Thank you once again for that question. It's a very good question. Unfortunately not. We only accept students with a B degree into the PGCE, and this is prescribed by the Department of Higher Education in our minimum requirements for teacher education. We require students to have completed a B degree and that their teaching subjects need to be at an NQF level 7 in that degree. In other words, up to a 3rd year level. And this is actually related to the previous question, because even in our B.Ed FET, those content subjects that the students specialize in, they do them in the service faculties, the science or the commerce faculties, and they do that content subjects up to a 3rd year level, because that is what is required to teach in the FET phase. You need an NQF7 for your content modules. So unfortunately, at the moment, we're not accepting diploma graduates into the PGCE. I know some people will probably remember that in the past, some diplomas were accepted, but those were only for scarce subjects, like your commerce subjects, accounting and economics. And since, for the past 3 years now, we've not been accepting any national diplomas into the PGCE, because we are, from a national level, being informed that even in those scarce subjects, we now, getting in enough students through the B.Ed FET as well as through the PGCE with a commerce background, specializing in those scarce skills. So we're no longer accepting any national diploma graduate into the PGCE program. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stora. It's a question here about Funza Lushaka. Are Funza Lushaka bursary recipients able to take a gap year to proceed to complete further studies after qualifying? Ms. Kasunt, if you could respond to that.
Thank you, Dr. Mara. Funza Lushaka graduates are not allowed to take a gap year. Placement takes place immediately after completing your qualification. So if you complete your final exam in November of 2020 or December 2020, your employment should be in place for January 2021. Placement cannot be deferred or delayed for any reason whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you. In the Q&A box, there's a question over here. It's about online education has become the new norm. Are your programs equipped for full online teaching and learning? Yes, at this point in time, we are going through a transition, and while before we were not thinking of online teaching, however, as we are experiencing this pandemic, we are thinking of going online. However, we are still doing the blended learning. And by blended learning, I mean we still intend going the face-to-face as well as online in the future. So while it's too early to say whether we will be going full online in the future, however, it is something that we may have to consider, will consider, but that is a university decision and management will be involved in that decision. So for now, I want to say that we are still going face-to-face, but in future we may consider going full online. Thank you for that question. That's a very good question. And now I have a question for the students. And the question reads as follows. And either of the students could answer that, or the teachers, alumni, either Ms. Nolan or Mr. Gangia. Did you choose your school, or did the Department of Education place you? So okay. I think an answer from each one of you will be appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you. You can start, Ms. Nolan.
All right. When I graduated in 2017, I was a Funza Lushaka member, which meant that I had to fill out a form, which meant that government will have to place me. Fortunately enough for me, I found a school that was willing and able to take me, that was looking for a grade 12 accounting teacher. And then I applied for the post, and then I was first SGB for a month. And then because I was a Funza Lushaka member or holder, I became permanent in a month's time. So Funza Lushaka does help make the process faster. So it was a public school and not a private school. And yes, so that's how I was placed.
I was also fortunate in that I finished my final exams at the university in November of the year previous, or 2018. And in 2019, by the 11th of February, I was already in my permanent post. So Funza Lushaka also, the process through which Funza Lushaka students actually get preference in posts that are advertised by the government in the coming year? Thank you.
Thank you to Ms. Nolan and Mr. Gangia for that response. An interesting question over here, which I will direct to Dr. Mapasa, is when I qualify with my B.Ed IP degree, will I be able to go and teach overseas? Over to you, Dr. Mapasa.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mura. Yes, of course, if you want to teach overseas, you can. But unfortunately, if you have taken a Funza Lushaka, you will first have to serve the number of years that the bursary has given you the money. Otherwise, I've got some of my students from the IP who are teaching in China. They are back in the country now because of COVID-19, but they are busy online. So you can teach overseas because we don't prepare you only for the South African context. Thank you, Dr. Mura.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mapasa. A question to Ms. Geswind, and it's about the Funza Lushaka bursary, and it says, what does the bursary cover? I guess they're talking about the full package of the bursary. Ms. Geswind, could you respond to that?
Thank you, Dr. Mura. The bursary covers all essential costs like accommodation, tuition fees, meals included, books and stationery. You can also use your book and stationery allocation to buy yourself a device. There's a small stipend for traveling to and from campus, traveling from home to campus. So the bursary is a very generous bursary, and for that reason, you have to keep up a certain academic standard in order to qualify to retain the bursary from one year to another. Thank you, Dr. Moreau.
Thank you, Mr. Swint, for that response. An anonymous question over here, a question from an anonymous caller. It says, comments of appreciation. You have a beautiful facility on the Missionville campus. Can schools book or take tours of this facility in the future when we are COVID free? Dr. Geduld, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Maram, and appreciation from our side also for that word of appreciation. The foundation phase building is on our Missionville campus, and it is important why that we utilize that building as best as we can as different schooling communities in our metro and beyond. So anonymous, you and your students are very, very welcome to come and visit us. We do have teaching and learning weeks whereby we invite schools to come along, look around, ask questions, see what it is that we are doing, what it is that we are playing with, how do we use our different pedagogies to teach. So you and your students are very welcome. Please just drop an indication as to where you are and also a contact number where we can get hold of you for future references. Thank you, Dr. Maral.
Thank you for that, Dr. Geduld. An interesting question over here, and I'll direct it to Dr. Satora. I would like to become a university lecturer. If I register for the B.Ed FET, will I be able to lecture at the university?
Thank you, Dr. Morar. That's a very good question. I think all of us present here this evening lecturing at the university in the faculty started off with an undergraduate qualification. So yes, that is your starting point. If you start off with a B.Ed FET, you have the option of going on to doing a B.Ed honors and following that up with an M.Ed and a PhD. Because the minimum requirement to lecture at the university is a master's degree. If you have done a PGCE and the you did a undergraduate degree, a BA or a BSc or BCom, and you did the PGCE afterwards, you can also follow on with our B.Ed honors. But you also have the option of doing an honors degree in another faculty and a master's in another faculty, because that will also give you the opportunity to become a lecturer, either in the Faculty of Education or in any of our other faculties. So your starting point would be an undergraduate degree, and the B.Ed FET is one of those undergraduate degrees. Thank you.
Thank you. A question from Anonymous as well. And it says here, on your matric certificate, what should the required pass be when you already have been accepted? I'm not sure about what they're expecting to be answered on this one, but I will hand this over to Ms. Geswind, because she did mention things about the AS scores, and I think maybe this is where the AS scores may come into play. Ms. Geswind, will you be able to answer that question? Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Murrah. When you apply for admission to the university for a bachelor degree in education, the minimum requirement is for you to pass your grade 12 exam with a bachelor degree status. So that means if you have admission to diploma status, you cannot be admitted to the program. If you have admission to higher certificate status, you will not meet the requirement for the program as well. So I hope that answers the question. Together with the bachelor degree status, you will also need to meet specific.
Thank you, Muriel. Are you breaking up?
Okay, together with the admission on your matric certificate, the pass with a bachelor degree pass, you also need to meet specific program requirements. For example, if you intend to enroll for the B.Ed intermediate phase and you currently have maths literacy at grade 12 level, but your final mark for maths literacy in your final exam is less than 60%, you will not meet the admission requirement for the B.Ed intermediate phase, even if you have the admission to bachelor degree studies. There's admission for program, and then there's subject-specific admission as well. And they are not seen as two separate entities, they are combined, and it's viewed in one component. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Geswind, for that response. We are now coming to 18:58. I'm wary of time. The webinar is scheduled for an hour. I have a final question over here, and the question reads: will I be able to do an honours and masters in another faculty with my B.Ed degree? That's a very interesting question, and if I could ask Dr. Satora to respond to this one.
Thanks, Dr. Morar. Yes, thank you, Dr. Morar. Yes, that's also a very, very good question. You will definitely be able to do an honours in another faculty if you did a B.Ed FET and use, because of the specializations. Let's say, for argument's sake, you specialized in commerce and your two subjects is business studies and economics. You could, after completing your B.Ed FET, and because you did business management up to third year level, you could do an honours in business management or an honours in economics. So that is true for the B.Ed FET, because we have those content subjects that we share with the service faculties. Unfortunately, our intermediate phase and foundation phase, all the content, all the modules are offered in-house. So if you did the B.Ed, IP and FP as they currently stand, you will unfortunately only be able to sort of move on to a B.Ed honours degree.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Dr. Satora. We've come to the end of our webinar, and I want to place on record our sincere thanks to all the presenters and to Jaron and Nolan, Jaron, Dr. Mr. Gangia and Ms. Nolan. I think the questions that came in were most interesting and relevant, and I thank the parents and the students for joining this webinar. Please feel free to go to the www.mandela.ac.za website and go to education. All the information that was provided tonight on air on this webinar is on the website. You will also find there the names of our PAs. You'll find for the foundation phase the name of Ms. Bashira Brooks, who is the foundation phase PA. We'll find the name of Mr. Deline Botha, who is the intermediate phase PA, and you find all the details over there for the BEd, SP, FET, and PGCE PA, and that is Ms. Pamela Roach, and all the information about the Funza Lushaka bursaries, as well as some information about the NSFAS is over there, and you'll find the contact details of Ms. Mura Geswind. With that, I want to thank each one of you for joining this webinar. Please, at this time of COVID-19 and the pandemic, please stay safe and stay warm. I thank you for your participation and enjoy the evening.